I'm Amy from amyshealthybaking.com and welcome back to 2 Minute Mondays. In this episode, I'm going to answer a few of your questions about recipes and recipe development. When I first started vlogging in 2010, I used recipes from other sources and put my own little spins or modifications on them. But when I started the process in April of 2013 to becoming a full-time food blogger, I realized I really didn't feel comfortable making a living off of other people's work. So starting then, I created my own original recipes from scratch, and anything since then is my own original work. I usually experiment with about 4 to 8 new recipes per week, and it's a mix of old recipes that I'm putting a little spin on and new recipes I'm creating entirely from scratch. I like to do both in the same week because the old recipes I'm just putting a new spin on generally turn out fine the first time, whereas the recipes I'm trying to create entirely from scratch take a few tries to get it right. So that gives me a balance of successes and little things I have to redo. With my background in organic chemistry, I approach baking a little differently than most people. In the chemistry world, we talk about things called equivalents. So how much of A, B, and C do I need to mix together in order to create product D? And so let's say hypothetically I need 1 equivalent of A, 2 equivalents of B, and just a half equivalent of C to get to product D. And I know that those amounts work perfectly. Now, let's say that I decide, I don't want to add just 2 equivalents of B, I want to add 20. I know that the reaction will still work, but I'm wasting a whole lot of B because it's present in excess, more than I actually need. Now when you apply that to food, when it comes to baking recipes, there are often ingredients that are present in excess, more than we actually need to produce the taste and the texture that we want. And the most common one of those is fat. So the first thing I do when I look at a recipe is I try to reduce the amount of fat to the proper equivalents to produce the taste and the texture that I want, but not have all those extra calories in my muffin batter or my cookie dough. So I still use some batter to get the taste and the texture, but I don't use quite as much as a traditional recipe. And then when it comes to muffins and cakes, what I try to do is reduce the amount of butter just a tiny bit more so that I still have the taste. But then I'll add in Greek yogurt to make up for the missing moisture. So that's my favorite healthy substitution, is using Greek yogurt instead of extra butter or oil. My other favorite one is using any type of whole wheat flour, whether it's regular white or whole wheat pastry flour, in place of all-purpose flour where I can get away with it. And then my last one is when I'm trying to create a diabetic-friendly recipe because we have certain family members with diabetes. I'll try to use a no-calorie sweetener instead of sugar. I usually design recipes to have a fewer number of servings for 2 reasons. The first and most important reason is that in general it's easier to double a recipe than it is to have one. And the second reason is that we are a small 2-person household where only one person likes to eat baked goods, and that would be me. So to prevent myself from feeling overwhelmed by the sheer number of treats sitting out on the countertops, I try to create recipes with fewer servings. So thanks for tuning in to this week's 2 Minute Monday episode, and I'll see you next week to answer a few of your questions about food blogging as a full-time job.